邪魔だ。
Who doesn't love a good old ass-kicking in anime? I know you do, so I figured why not use your like of those showcases of power for a good cause and exhibit some notable examples from new anime. I guess this also makes a semi-recommendation video for new anime that just came out in the last 2 years. Yes, that's right, no sequels, no long runners, just new anime that got their start in the past couple of years in the hopes that you might find something new to pick up. That's enough talking from me, and let's get started. We start off with a scene from Fog Hill of 5 Elements. Chinese anime has been making some headway in the recent years. They'll forever be left obscure for obvious reasons, such as marketing and such, but for those who decided to pick them up, they get rewarded by some cool fight sequences with awesome animation and a unique feel. Take this Fog Hill bridge fight, for example. It really has that comic, free-flowing feel that makes you think it's from a video game cutscene, a vintage game from the past decade or so perhaps. While the fight itself is an awesome showcase of power on the side of the animators, it's got a grand moment at the end. The scene gave me some Aizen vibes, if you get what I'm saying. Stopping an attack with a hand followed by a one-shot, but this time it's done in such a wild manner, both in and out of universe. The smooth movement of lines, the whole shaky effect, exploding someone's head after choking them, never looked as intense before. Next in line we have Rune versus Brandy. Remember Interspecies Reviewers? Yeah, that show that blew up for all the meme reasons and whatnot. Surely the guy behind it could have come up with something even wackier and crazier in the grand scheme of things, right? Well, he's got another title in his resume, and while it's not as attention-grabbing as Interspecies Reviewers, it is still damn cool. That's Idaten Deities. It's got some of the things you'd expect, like the profanity and the violence, but it's also got these amazing moments of character flexes, like Rune taking on Brandy. A route, if you will, that drives home the fact that Rune is one of the most powerful characters in the show. Just when you thought she's on the ropes, she easily pulls the comeback in the grandest way possible. Even when it looked like she's receiving the decisive hit, Rune just easily shrugs that attack off and wins. Nothing short of expectations for the last remaining Idaten. Let's move on to Leo versus Generals from I'm Quitting Heroing. I'm Quitting Heroing is one of the shows that I found quite interesting for the year. It's quite niche in the grand scheme of things, but I feel that it's a show that lives off both its premise and the idea that people just love overpowered heroes. It's not every day we see the scenario of the overpowered hero getting the opposite of a hero's welcome. It's a no-brainer to understand what Leo's capable of, but this battle against the Generals is one of the times he showcased it in a way that comes with an insane wow factor. While it's nothing as comically over the top as snapping his fingers and causing everyone to explode, it just shows how far ahead Leo is compared to everyone. He more than deserves his reputation, and in a twist, he doesn't even look heroic doing all of this. Normally, showcases by the supposed hero would be met by cheers of excitement, but for this moment, he plays the villain billing so perfectly, we can't help but look in silence, awestruck. We then have Dark Schneider's introduction. For someone with as much hype as Dark Schneider coming in, nothing less than a bombastic first impression, a showcase of power if you will, would suffice. Thankfully, we got that and some in Dark Schneider's awakening. Not even a few seconds after returning, Dark Schneider shows off his power by immediately destroying 2 towering monsters before flexing creation magic. Some banter ensues, but once the talking's over, it's back to the destruction we go. And boy did we get destruction. The Dark Wizard easily makes short work of every enemy, turning them into paste with magic that he fires off oh so easily. Sure, an impending catastrophe requires extreme measures, but these people better not regret awakening the most powerful wizard of old in their quest to save themselves. For all we know, Dark Schneider could be the cause of their doom if they're not careful. Rank 6th for me is Rai versus the clan leaders. It's no secret that Rai is one of the most overpowered characters out there in the world of webtoons. It's just that characters in universe just decide to stay blissfully ignorant of it, possibly due to sheer arrogance and that. When push comes to shove, the normally stoic Rai will waste no time showing off the power that's been laid to rest for hundreds of years. The biggest example is the scene where the clan leaders decide to attack him. Despite all the efforts by these clan leaders, Rai just stands there looking as cool as ever. Those attacks look like they could just about eradicate any enemy with how they're presented, but it's too bad. Rai's not just any enemy. After letting these clan leaders have their fun, Rai responds in kind, and it's an awesome scene to see. Such is the power of noblesse. Oh, and if you're enjoying this video, then hurry up and hit that like button up there to help the video with the YouTube algorithm. It shows that you all appreciate videos like this and want more, and that could incentivize me to make even more similar lists in the future. Now we move on with Jin Mori versus Park Ilpyo. I really like these fights because of the general positive yet competitive atmosphere they give us. When Jin Mori and Park Ilpyo battle it out in this episode, it felt like an impromptu training session until it wasn't, and things got serious, with the latter releasing his Nine Tails form. Well, how does Jin respond to this sudden twist? By taking it head on, of course. Ilpyo may have shown off his shiny form along with some super destructive attacks, but he just became the perfect opponent for our protagonist to test his strength against. Just to show us how strong our protagonist really is, he gets to face the full might of Ilpyo's Nine Tails transformation while calmly shrugging off the force of the attacks. Jin got it in him to face the veritable pandemonium head on and came out on top. This is one of my favorite fights in the series, and it ended up with Jin showing the world what he's really made of. Who better to make an appearance here than Mikey himself? Yes, the invincible Mikey is here to nobody's surprise. In case you're wondering whether he deserves that nickname or not, here's the fight against Valhalla to convince you. The gang war erupts, and as all hell breaks loose, we see Mikey facing multiple people at once. The numbers game wasn't looking too good for Mikey, and he himself takes a trashing, but that invincible moniker isn't for nothing. Despite all the punishment he endures, one rage moment is all it takes for him to turn the tides on everyone. He starts no-selling the shots before breaking free and destroying every opponent in sight. See, that's the thing about Mikey that I like. He's not untouchable per se, but after he lets you have your fun and get your hits in, then it's payback time. And payback courtesy of this guy, it ain't pretty. Let's kick off the top three now with Arnos. Arnos, sealed away for ages, only to awaken into a world that he's unfamiliar with. A world that's grown weak when put aside the power he had in him. Now, this kind of feels like Rai's backstory, right? After what we've seen from Rai earlier, you might think that it's hard to top that, but this is Arnos we're talking about here. This is a character who sure can give Rai a run for his money. We can start with how he makes his first impression. Where else can you see someone killing another guy without as much as laying a finger on him, only to bring him back just to kill him again, all without breaking a sweat? That's just how powerful Arnos is, and he made sure everyone was there to see it. The guy sure knows how to make a first impression that will stick for the ages. Arnos is crazy overpowered, and he wastes no time driving that point home. Who knows what spectacular feats he'll show us this season too. Our top two features none other than Orsted from Mushoku Tensei. The greatest villains prove their might in the most memorable ways. Sometimes that involves defeating some random slob that's 4 times their size. Other times it's going up against the hero team and destroying everyone decisively. And that's exactly what Orsted did. Before this, Orsted already made a presence in an encounter with a dragon, but this is the first time we've ever seen his feats in actual combat against the heroes, and boy did he make a mess out of Dead End. There's simply no match for the Dragon God, as we as fans were made to watch what was nothing short of a massacre. It's a very dramatic sequence of events that easily drove home the point that this Orsted is the real deal. A true challenge that Rudius just won't be able to overcome anytime soon. Finally, we have Gojo versus Miguel. Of course, Gojo would be on the list. But while you would have expected something out of the mainline series with his numerous feats out there, I wanted to mix things up just a little bit. Thus, we're going to be going over something from Jujutsu Kaisen 0 this time around, specifically his fight against Miguel. Miguel starts in the fight on the offensive, trying to attack Gojo, but all it does is open up the floodgates to Gojo, showing how overpowered he is. There's just so much to take away from this fight. You gotta think of Miguel's rope and how quickly that thing folded trying to seal Gojo's powers, and it's supposedly one of the most powerful curse tools out there. To be fair, it allowed him to hit Gojo a bit, but that's all she wrote before Gojo responds with an eye-popping offensive featuring a blitz of punches, kicks, and throws. Gojo just ended the fight within seconds, and to think that everyone had high expectations for Miguel going in. Hey, let's at least give Miguel credit for surviving that many hits at once. And that ends my list of top 10 showcases of power in anime. I know there are lots of honorable mentions and moments that arguably should be in here as well, but I'll leave that for you to discuss in the comment section. And who knows, maybe I'll feature them in a future video as well. As always, thanks for watching this video. I hope you had fun. I'd appreciate it if you could also share my channel with your friends who might be interested, and I'll see you next time.